Okay, so here we have a component that is implemented as a class, right? And React calls the render function to know how to render this class. Yes, it's still a stateless component. Still, it's a stateless because notice that we have no state, right? It's always renders the same thing over and over. To give state to this component, what we can do is declare a state variable. Right? In that state variable, we can put the initial values, the initial state of our component. Right? So for instance, we might say that the layout, the current layout is that we want it to be grid. Is grid. And what we'll do is that we'll use that state property to toggle, to drive whether we're going to show one or the other. Yeah? Okay? And so for instance, we might say, if the state, we could say if, this dot state, if it's equal to grid, table, then we're going to render the table. If instead this dot state, is equal to grid, then we render the grid. Make sense? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Layout, of course. Layout. Yeah, I was just checking if we were awake. There it is. I mean, the ID was even telling me this. There it is. So it's going to check against table or grid, right? And either one of them is going to evaluate to true, right? So if we go back here and we refresh, and notice that because it's grid, it renders the grid. If I change this to table, right, notice that it renders the table. Everybody good? Right? So the next thing we need to be able to identify is, well, how can we change that state from table to grid or vice versa? How do we actually do the toggling? So let's take a look at that.